related tangentially to some of this, Vladimir Putin speaking with our team here at NBC News. And you know what? He has some things to say about that whistleblower complaint that is the center of this impeachment investigation. NBC's senior international correspondent Keir Simmons joins us now from Moscow. The only journalist, Keir, questioning the Russian president this morning at that forum. A couple of headlines, Keir, including President Putin seeming to give President Trump some backup on this whole impeachment thing, right?
Hey, Hallie, yeah, that's right. Saying that President Trump's critics are using any pretext to attack President Trump. So that is President Putin weighing in on behalf of President Trump in this political battle in Washington and equating that call to Ukraine, investigation into that call with the investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. Hallie, I asked him specifically about Robert Mueller's conclusion that Russia had attempted to influence the 2016 election, and in that evidence to Congress that Russia was going to and was already trying to intervene in the 2020 election. And President Putin responded to that with a classic piece of what you could call Putin trolling, joking about it. Take a listen.
Is Russia, as Robert Mueller alleged, attempting to influence the 2020 elections in the United States?
I'll tell you in a secret. Yes, we will definitely intervene. It's a secret, so that everybody can laugh, and so we'll go big. But don't tell anyone, please.
As you can hear there, I think, Hallie, that went down well with the audience here in Moscow, but I'm not sure how it will be received in Washington. Support from President Putin for President Trump. You can see that will be pretty divisive. And another thing, I pressed him on the question of how he would interpret if the administration published rough transcripts of calls between President Putin and President Trump, the way they have between President Trump and the new leader of Ukraine. He seemed pretty relaxed about this. And Hallie, a senior Russian official, said to me, if they published transcripts of the conversations between President Trump and President Putin would look good, Hallie. So, we made news on a number of fronts. I don't know if you remember back at the G20 in Germany, you and I both trying to get a question to President Putin a few years ago. Well, I think I managed to just get about 30 questions to him. So you've got a bit of catching up to do, my friend.
Yeah, you're varsity, Keir. I know where I stand. Thank you, sir. Great work out there. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Why don't you subscribe? It's really easy. Just click on that button down there. And for more news from MSNBC, click on any of these videos here for the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more videos from MSNBC with our newsletters. Head over to msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up.